Joy also has spiritual joy and non-spiritual joy. Non-spiritual joy means when we think of pleasant sight, sound, smell, taste, touch, and thought, then joy arises. They are related to 6 senses, and this joy is related to material things, things that we have seen, heard, and so forth, or things we are seeing, hearing, smelling, and so forth in the present. Or joy arises when we think of our future, some material success, material gain. That is called samisa joy or piti. Piti. And there is another piti, joy, that does not have anything to do with the senses, sensual pleasures. That is totally spiritual, not anything related to material things. That is called spiritual joy. That's called niramisa piti. Niramisa piti. That is the kind of piti we have to we develop. For instance, when we practice metta, metta is to be practiced viveka nisitang, viraga nisitang, nirodha nisitang, vassagga parinaming. That means we practice metta based on viveka. Viveka means seclusion. Seclusion, based on seclusion. There are 3 types of seclusions as we mentioned. Kaya viveka, chitta viveka, upadi viveka. Physical seclusion, based on physical seclusion. Then based on concentration, gaining some degree of concentration. That also is a kind of chitta viveka. Upadviveka means joy arising from seclusion of defilements, clinging, craving. Based on this we practice metta. This is called unconditional metta. Unconditional loving friendliness for all living beings, as we do at the beginning of our meditation every day. That metta we practice without expecting anything in return. In Metta Sutta, it is said that we have to have less duty, less responsibility, less work, not engaged in too many things. Then metta practice is very good. That kind of metta practice based on seclusion and based on cessation, Nirodhistan based on abandoning and based on relinquishment, relinquishing. That means with not holding to anything we practice that metta. That is called unconditional metta. When we practice that, spiritual joy arises. Anytime we practice metta with these the conditions, that means conditions here means that we are not biased, not working under pressure, not having too many responsibilities, and mind is totally free from too many things and always letting go. That way joy arises from the practice of metta. Another way of joy arising, another method, another practice is seeing impermanence. Seeing impermanence. As we mentioned earlier talks, impermanence for ordinary person brings suffering, dukkha. Yada nityang tan dukkhaṃ. Whatever is impermanent, that brings suffering. That brings stress. Because what is impermanent? Impermanent is everything. Things we like or dislike. If we remember the things in the past all were impermanent, our sight, sound, taste, smell, touch, and all these were impermanent. Some of them are very pleasant, beautiful, we like them, they are impermanent. By losing them, disappearing them, ordinary people get upset. Grief, that is why when somebody passes away, people grieve. When somebody loses something they like, they grieve. Because impermanence creates grief in their mind. In the present also, when something they lose, something they like, they will be disappointed, upset, and create suffering in their mind. When they think of the future, certain things they like, that also they know might disappear, just as the things that disappeared in the past, they might think, what is the use? All we had in the past disappeared, this also will disappear. So the disappearance or impermanence make them unhappy. That is a ordinary people's attitude. But from the same objects, joy also can arise in people who practices this seclusion, cessation, abandoning, and relinquishing based on that. For instance, when one remembers in the past they had many things. They all disappeared. All the things that they have now disappear. Pleasant, unpleasant, neutral, and whatever. All disappear. As they see that, then they see the uniformity of everything. Everything disappears. Everything rises and falls. Everything pleasant, rises and falls, unpleasant rises and falls, neutral things rises and falls, and that is why the Buddha said, yato yato sammasati khandanam udayabhyang labati piti pamojjang. Piti pamojjang. Amatantang vijanam. Piti is joy, pamojja means tranquility. Whenever somebody sees rising and falling, appearing and disappearing of anything and everything, if the person remains impartial, then joy arises in him. That joy is very much close to liberation. Amata. Amata means deathless. That joy is like deathlessness. So the impermanence for certain people creates suffering, and impermanence in certain other individuals creates joy. And that is how joy arises. So that is another way of arousing joy. Then there is another way of joy arising, another method. As we already mentioned, virya, effort. When we make effort, joy arises. As I mentioned, these factors of enlightenment develop sequentially. When one arises, then it entails another thing to arise. For instance, virya, as we discussed last time, when we make effort, we see more and more results, benefits. Just like when you dig a gold mine or gem, the more gem you see, happier you will be in the gold mine, in gems mine. More gems come out, more and more gems, more valuable gems comes out. Similarly, when we make effort, we see Dhamma more and more clearly, and then we are encouraged to practice more and more. This is how joy arises from making effort. This spiritual effort. This is not a physical effort, like trying to lift a heavy weight or trying to run, compete with others, playing game and so forth. That's a physical thing. From that you enjoy, but that is not a spiritual joy. That is material joy. Samisa piti. And niramisa piti you gain by seeing the truth more and more clearly. By making effort, you see the truth and you gain joy. So, virya, we mentioned virya. Effort has 4 steps: 1 to prevent, 1 to overcome, 1 to arouse, and 1 effort to develop and cultivate. Wholesome things, develop and cultivate. More and more effort we make to cultivate wholesome things, joy arises. Joy arises. Then another way of joy arising is that when one's morality is pure, clean, without blotches, holes. Achidda in Pali, achidda, no, chidda means holes. So the morality is very good. If somebody observe 5 precepts, for instance, 5 precepts, and then if one doesn't practice all of them, suppose one practices the precept of not killing. Whenever the person thinks about his own past, he can see that he has never killed any living being. That gives him joy. So one cultivates. Somebody might be very honest, very sincere, never cheated somebody, never lies, and so on. So when one thinks of one's own purity, of one's own moral practice, joy arises. This joy also is joy arising, spiritual joy, niramisa, piti. And then niramisa priti arises when one is materially successful, joy arises. At the same time, that is called material joy. Samisa piti. We are talking about a niramisa piti. When one sees success in his own practice, say for instance, meditating regularly every day without any break, every time one meditates, one develops gain, peace, happiness, concentration, tranquility, and so forth. Then seeing this spiritual development in one's own practice, joy arises. So that joy is called spiritual joy, niramisa piti. Then another way of arising joy is when one has spiritual seeing, it was Sangvega. There are various ways of arousing Sangvega. Sangvega means additional speed to practice spiritual things. Additional, that is, one sees birth, decay, death, sorrow, all these are happening, and therefore one wants to get out of this samsara very quickly. The person practices Dhamma, meditation. And one falls sick very often, and one does not want to fall sick. That is something one doesn't like, and one wants to get rid of sickness, so one meditates. Meditates when one is well, little bit, then immediately meditate, thinking that before I fall sick, I must meditate. When one is sick, one meditates, I must meditate in order to get rid of my sickness very quickly. Then one meditates, and then joy arises. Then one sees everybody is dying, one also is leading towards the death, and therefore before death occurs, one must practice Dhamma as quickly as possible, and then joy arises. And this is called Dhamma Sangvega. Samvega means a spiritual urgency. Spiritual urgency. And the spiritual urgency arises in the Buddha in one way, and those who have not attained enlightenment in another way. Ordinary Putujana has a spiritual urgency in order to attain liberation. Buddha has a spiritual urgency to help the world. When Buddha sees the suffering beings, and then he wants to help these suffering beings. And if he sees anybody who is ready to attain liberation, Buddha has a spiritual urgency to help this person before he commits unwholesome things. The mind is getting clear. At that time, Buddha immediately wants to give the very high dosage of spiritual practice. And there Buddha has a spiritual urgency, Dhamma Samvega. So Dhamma Samvega also is another way of arousing joy. Then when one's another beautiful way of arousing joy is when one practices meditation, one sees impermanence, and one sees the whole world is full of joy. That is imagination. We imagine the whole world is peaceful. Nobody fights. Nobody is sick. Nobody is stressful. Nobody is grieving. Like that we can imagine. When we imagine the world is very peaceful, calm, relaxed, no fight, no quarrel, no argument. We imagine that. It is not difficult to imagine. When we imagine this, this of course will not happen, but we can imagine. Suppose the world is calm and peaceful, full of joy. Then joy arises in our mind by simply visualizing, imagining the world is all peaceful, all living beings are peaceful and happy. Then another way of arousing joy is meeting Kalyana Mitra. Kalyana Mitra I translate as excellent friend. The most desirable, excellent, the best friend is the Buddha. In lieu of Buddha, in absence of Buddha, if we meet an Arahant who also is totally free from all defilements, then joy arises. Kalyana Mitra means excellent friend. Why excellent friend? Meeting excellent friend arouse joy in our mind. Because excellent friend is the one who teaches us the noble eightfold path. Excellent friends teaches us noble eightfold path. Friends, if somebody teaches noble eightfold path in a very, very clear way, giving all examples, similes, detail, then every step we follow, every step of the Noble Eightfold Path, we follow as our friend, excellent friend explains, we also can attain full enlightenment. Therefore, associating with the excellent friend is very, very highly recommended by the Buddha. We all remember famous statement that Venerable Ananda said to the Buddha one day, that regarding Venerable Sariputta, Sariputta was excellent friend to everybody, so compassionate. He went out of his way to help people, monks, lay people. For instance, Venerable Sariputta's mother was a Brahmin who did not like Sariputta at all, Sariputta becoming a monk. Every time she saw Venerable Sariputta, instead of being happy to see her son, she would be very upset because he became monk. All his brothers he ordained, all his sisters he encouraged to ordain, all of them ordained. But Venerable Sariputta, when he was going to pass away, he told the Buddha, Venerable Sir, tomorrow I'm going to pass away. Then the Buddha asked Sariputta, where are you going to pass away? He said, Venerable Sir, I want to go to my home and pass away. His intention was to change the mind of his mother out of compassion. That is a Kalyana Mitra's job. So he went there, and when he was going to pass away, that whole night, all kind of deities, including six heavens, deities of 6 heavens, and Mahabrahma came and respected him, showing, lighting up the entire area. Then the mother asked him, why so much light was there at night? Who brought this light? Who made this light, shining, brought light? Then he said, that is so and so, so and so. Finally, the Mahabrahma came. That is one whom you were respecting. And then the mother said, are you more respectable than my Mahabrahma? Venerable Sariputta said, yes, mother. That instant, mother became so glad, so happy, she attained the stream entry. And that is what the Kalyana Mitras do. Kalyana Mitras show the Noble Eightfold Path and help people to attain liberation. So meeting a Kalyana Mitra, joy arises. Moreover, if you become Kalyana Mitra to others, noble friend to others, that helping makes you very happy, full of joy. That is another way of arousing joy. And one more way I want to mention that arouses joy is letting go. Letting go. Accumulating make you unhappy. Letting go make you full of joy. Letting go brings joy. So, let me repeat the 4 steps of practicing joy. That means, according to the discourse, when you do all these things, you see joy in your mind. If there is no joy, you arouse joy. When the joy arises, You cultivate it, develop it, multiply it, repeat it again and again and again. Joy is a wonderful thing to cultivate. All it eventually leads you to attain full liberation. Everybody who attained full liberation met a Kalyana Mitra. First, among the four things that one has to practice to attain stream entry is listening to Dhamma, mindful reflection, and living according to Dhamma, and meeting Kalyana Mitra, noble or excellent friend. So, excellent friend is excellent in every sense to bring joy, tranquility, happiness, and so on. So, friends, tomorrow you may ask me questions. Today, I think my talk on joy is, I want to end this and have a joy and be happy. With this, I want to wish my metta wish for all beings. May all those who are suffering in hospitals due to various sicknesses taken care of by doctors, very compassionate doctors, compassionate nurses and hospital staffs, and may all this recover soon and return to normal life, practice Dhamma and attain liberation. And then all those doctors, nurses and hospital staffs who dedicate their life, sacrificing their comfort, even risking their own life, taking care of these people with compassion, may they continue their wonderful service and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. May all others who are supporting various projects in various ways, may they continue their practice for the benefit of everybody and make them be free from suffering and attain liberation from samsaric suffering. And overall, all of you, everybody in various places in the world, be free from pain and suffering and attain liberation from samsara. Okay, thank you for coming and attending these talks regularly, and hope to see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante. Everyone,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Everyone, sadhu.
Thank you very much, Bhante. Thank you.
Saranai Swami.
So much.
Everyone, Saranai, bye.
Thank you, Bhante. From Idaho.